Hello and welcome back to another We Ourselves video. And today I want to talk about the third episode of the Star Wars Acolyte show entitled Destiny. First of all, let's start with a quick synopsis of this episode. 16 years ago, Osha and May lived with an all-female coven of witches on Bryndock. Their mother and the coven's leader, Mother Anastasia, claims the twins do not have a father, and she tells that to the Jedi when they show up. They were carried to term by another witch, Mother Corell. Anastasia teaches the children that the Force, which she calls the Thread, is misused by the Jedi, although some reviewers have pointed out that she goes on to contradict her own statements, but we'll get to that later. Anyway, the twins are going to undergo the ceremony to be inducted into the coven, which May is excited about, but Osha is not, so we see the difference between the twins very early. Before Osha is inducted, the ceremony is interrupted when 4 Jedi, Indira, Kalnaki, Torben, and Sol at that point, arrive. They express concerns that the witches are training children and claim the right to test the twins for their suitability to become Jedi. Anastasia asks the children to purposely fail the test. May does this, but Osha chooses to pass the test and tells Anastasia, her mom, that she wants to become a Jedi. But of course, May, who's shown as being overly aggressive and also resistant to her sister not constantly sharing everything with her, she gets angry when she finds out that Osha's going to become a Jedi. And so she tells her sister that she's going to kill her, and she actually sets the coven where they're living on fire. Sol shows up to help Asha get to safety, but they see May seemingly die, and they find the rest of the coven, or we see the rest of the coven dead, including Mother Anastasia as well. The Jedi take Osha back to Coruscant, and Sol promises to train her as a Padawan. Back on Bryndock, we see May standing beneath the tree that we see in the very beginning of the episode, and she's apparently looking for Osha. So anyway, that's the quick synopsis of the episode. My thoughts on this? There are some people that are complaining about the witch's description of the Force. Reactions vary. Some are saying that the mother, Anastasia, is basically repeating what Yoda told Luke, which, again, I don't necessarily have a problem with. And then there's others who are saying that it drastically changes everything. The concepts presented, I didn't have any problems with any of those things. I did think some of the acting, the dialogue, and the writing in particular was mishandled. But overall, I did not have a lot of problems with this episode in that respect. The thing that I do want to talk about is something that I've said before, and I will continue to say this. This has been advertised as an investigation, particularly by Master Sol. The problem is there is no investigation. And the reason there is no investigation or any realistic investigation is because everybody involved knows exactly what happened all these years ago. The killing of the Jedi is not a mystery. They know why it's happened, and they know who's doing it. We discover very early on who's doing it. And everybody involved knows why, because they know that they were all there 16 years prior when whatever happened, happened. So it's not a true investigation in any sense of the word. And I know Leslie Headland has constantly said that this is going to be like Rashomon, where you're going to have all these people who were there or witnessed something give their versions of it. But my problem is, and I said it in my first review, is that you have an unreliable investigator. You need a third party to come in and ask everybody questions and investigate, so that as they discover what happened, we, the audience, discover what happened. As they piece the mystery together of what happened 16 years ago, we, the audience, slowly find out what happens. That's a better way to do this show. And I don't agree with people who say that having a mystery or whatever doesn't work for Star Wars, or even doing the Rashomon type of thing where you have all the people talking about what happened and everybody's doing their own version and they're ultimately unreliable in some aspects. I don't think that inherently is a bad format for Star Wars. We've seen investigations happen, particularly in Clone Wars, when you had your classic 3 and 4 part story arcs. I mean, you had an investigation like this happen with the iconic Ahsoka episodes that led up to her leaving the Jedi Order. So this isn't inherently un-Star Wars. We've had independent investigators come in and investigate. In some cases, it's another sentient being, and in some cases, it's an android or a robot. So it's like, this is not something that's unfamiliar to Star Wars. It's just that I will say it and I'll say it again, they are miswriting it, they're mishandling the material. One of the reviewers did an excellent job of pointing out The Last Jedi and comparing The Last Jedi to this. In The Last Jedi, if you remember, Kylo Ren and Luke Skywalker told Rey similar but slightly different versions of what happened the night that Kylo Ren went crazy, killed most of the Jedis, took the survivors with her, and basically destroyed Luke's Jedi Academy. And that became Luke's ultimate failure. Both of them tell Rey basically the same story, and we see it from their point of view, but there are slight differences. Because for one reason, neither of these men knew what the other one was really thinking per se. But it works because there is a rationale for them telling the story. They are telling Rey the story. And so it works in The Last Jedi. In The Acolyte, nobody's telling anybody anything. The show doesn't even have that convention of somebody, you see them resting or you see them troubled and it's obvious that they're thinking about something, and you start the echoes of whatever they're thinking about, whether maybe they're sleeping and they're tossing and turning, and then we cut into what they're thinking or dreaming about or remembering. Or you have two people talking and one asks the other what happened, which is basically what Rey did in The Last Jedi, and the person goes into their version. We don't get that here because it simply starts 16 years ago. Now, it's supposed to be from Osha's point of view, and in some cases it is extremely from her point of view where we just stay with her, but there are other cases where there are people talking, they're having conversations that she's not privy to. And you can kind of argue that maybe she heard it in the background, but that doesn't work. And then at the end, we stay on the planet with May standing under the tree, apparently looking for Osha, but Osha thinks she's dead. So this really can't be from Osha's point of view, no matter how you look at it, because at this point, she thinks her sister is dead. So it's sloppy writing for me. And instead of answering actual questions, you're just presenting more, I don't even want to say mysteries, you're just giving us more gaps, in the information, and you're not really telling us anything. And so that's my biggest problems with this episode, is that the way they are handling the quote unquote mystery is very sloppy to me. So anyway, that's what I think. You can let me know what you think in the comments. And as always, like, subscribe, and share, and I will see you in the next video.